Welcome to Clemna TV in Diaspora. My name is Scott Moyosore and I will be your host for today. If you're watching, please don't forget to sign up at www.clemna.com for more live interviews, online blogs, online radios, and also you can market your business using our website. Today's topic will be, is South Africa a safe place to study? Here with me today, I have Mr. Smarte Anekwe. He's a Nigerian and also the president of the National Association of Nigerian Students at Durban University of Technology chapter. Welcome to the show, Mr. Smarte. Can you please tell us a little about yourself?
Thank you very much, Moyo. Thanks for having me. Yeah, like you said, my name is Mr. Smarte. Let me give you a little bit background, though. I think Mr. Smarte was born in Nigeria, Anambra to be precise. And from there, most of my education was in Anambra State. On my undergraduate, that's my first degree, was in Federal University of Technology, Owerri, where I majored in petroleum engineering. So I think after that, I proceeded to get a diploma in project management. Then before I went for my second degree. So my second degree majorly was in chemical engineering. And after that, presently I'm doing my PhD and also working as a research assistant here in South Africa. So yeah, I skip that. I've been in most part of Nigeria. I think I've been in some part, basically the southern part. The north, not really, but the southern part, I've been in most southern part, the south, the southeast, part of the north central, and then, yeah, that is Mr. Smarte. I think I've not talked too much. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks for the introduction. I would like to know, why did you choose to come to South Africa? Because you said you did your undergrad in Nigeria. So why did you come to South Africa?
Very interesting question, I must say. Yeah, you know, the quest for knowledge is something very unique, and it's not basically in everybody. Some people choose to go to towards the academic line where distinguishes us from one another, from others. So I think the zeal to succeed academically has always been my drive. The quest for more knowledge and to know more. I think most will say that's why the name Smarte. But however, I think it's basically not part of it, because each time I to say introduce myself as Smarte, people think I'm describing myself, you know. But I hope you have a perception about that. So South Africa, like we say, it opens up to, is a very lovely country and a very peaceful, irrespective of the whatever crisis we've experienced so far. So I see it as, and the one thing I considered that is a drive and motivation to come in is how they prioritize education. So I did my undergrad investigation, or kind of try to review the universities around. So I noticed that in South Africa, in Africa as a whole, they prioritize education. That's why you see most of their research going successfully and most of their investment in education. So I see it as a very peaceful place and a very welcoming environment to succeed academically, if you actually want to succeed. So that's one of the driver motivation, and also the boost, the encourage, especially the postgraduate, to drive and to go on with their research through some grants and some kind of a motivation when you start your work. So that's the, I may say that that's the major drive for coming here, and also to contribute my quota actively to the development of the country, because it's a kind of a win-win situation. You give me, I give you, like we used to say. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Smarte. That's a brilliant one. And you sound like an academic. So also, I would like to know, why did you choose to come to Durban University? Like, there are several universities that you could have gone to further your education.
Yeah, a very good one. Yeah, I think during my application in those years, I uh, I think I applied for like I think three universities. Uh, my response may be DUT, Durham University was the first one to accept. However, when I finished registering, I saw acceptance from the UCT and others. But however, I've registered with the University of Technology, so I choose to proceed from there. So yeah, and I've never regretted the decision because the academic environment was very peaceful, and their research drive was very excellent because they were into research and basically research, and that's one of the things that I love so much, and it helped consolidate my research abilities at scale. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, sounds like you had a really fun time studying at DUT.
Yeah,
Yeah. So I would like
yeah.
to know, did you experience?
Okay, you
Sorry,
can
you can
go
speak.
after you.
Okay. Did you like experience any language barrier? Like, okay, I'm a foreign student. Maybe people trying to speak Zulu because Durban it's Zulu. So, like,
Yeah, I think this is one of the things we cannot escape, especially when we travel from one place to another. Is basically a norm because I'm coming from a different background. So I'm meeting people with a diverse ability and diverse kind of culture and tradition and languages. So when you come in, you'll be like as if you are lost because the language sounds foreign to you and to me though. So I begin to, because I'm kind of the person that want to learn new things always and to grow from where I am the previous day. Because there's this thing we used to say that not trying at all is risky. So is
yeah,
taking risk is something that is worth doing. Because not trying anything at all is risky on itself. Is a risk you are unconsciously taking. So so each time, every day, I try to with people that speak Zulu, even though I'm not very fluent there yet, but I understand basic communication and try to respond in basic terms. So what I do basically is that I have to relate with the locals. We have to take a trip to the local communities to associate because you say education, you are not found worthy only in learning. You are found worthy in character and in learning. And basically, they say allow the university to pass through you. So I'm not kind of a triangular student, even in my back in those days in school. So I try to play around. I'm a secular student, so I try to know everything about something. So that's why I try to relate, try to get in touch, try to know more about the environment and study it so it can help me grow academically. So basically, I experienced the barrier, and I'll tell you a story if I'm not taking much time. There is this,
no, it's okay.
I was taking a course in 2019, no, 20, I think it's 2020, yeah. I was taking a course, I think it's first year, so, they just finished their matric. They were yet to be inducted into this university, and the course it was basically online because of the COVID. So I had this, when I tried to project to have my lecture, some students will start speaking Zulu, but however,
Yeah.
the basic language of communication is English in every university in South Africa. If that has changed, I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that, but English is the basic. So they start speaking, I will be like, English, please. I'll be talking, but you know how online works. You cannot do anything to those people because they are talking from the other side. So now what happens? There's meant to be a presentation. So I told them that I was giving the guideline for the presentation. But I was like, the presentation must be in English language. So you know how they are. They say, they started to like
Yeah.
the other one asked me, hey sir, why are we using English? Why are we using English? Why not? I was like, that's the instruction from the university. It must be in English. They we are trying to drag it. Students, they must always try their luck, kind of. So it was a kind of, that's not me. That has nothing to do with me not hearing Zulu, but it has something to do with the university. But however, whatever they are speaking there, I may not understand it because of the language barrier. But we try to communicate, and I try to learn more from them. And they are happy when people want to learn their language because they are very welcoming and they are very nice people. So it's not really, I find a way to maneuver the language barrier at every given point in time. Sometimes I use the kind of situation to respond if I don't hear it, but I know what you're talking about. So that's the way we try to maneuver it. But overall, it's never a very tough challenge we can deal with. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Mr. Smart. You said you are a PhD candidate in chemical engineering.
Yeah.
So I would like to ask about this international student funding, PG funding. Can you tell us more about that?
Very interesting. If you look at South Africa academic system, postgraduates are really, yeah, I always tell most people that are coming in that there's this kind of fund that are always available for locals and both locals and international students. And if I look at the accessibility of most of these funding, it's very accessible. However, the international student, the quota is very low. I'm just giving you a background. Huh? The quota is very low when it comes to international students. They might say 5%. That means the bulk is 100%, 5% for international. I think about 10% or 10 to 15% for Southern African students. Yeah, those people in SADC or kind of, yeah. So you see then 5% for other international. So you see now the competition becomes very tough. However, there is funding. So now, if there is funding, there's NRF, there's the school university funding, there's other kind of funding you can access depending on the supervisor you are working with and also the university you are into. So it has to do with these factors. So you have the supervisor you are working with, the university, and then the project you are into, because most projects attract more funding than the others. So these are the factors that we usually consider. Yeah. So now, accessibility of those funding is basically by merit. So I must say by merit, irrespective of what is obtainable in some other part of the country. You know what I'm talking about. So it's by merit. So it's by merit. So once you qualify for it, you get it. Even though we might cite some irregularities, but yeah, it may not be too much to compare with some other part of the world. So now, I look at it as a very accessible funding. The university one, like from the DUT now, I must tell you categorically clear that it has been increased. The funding this university is giving you. In DUT now, presently, most of Nigerian students are on free tuition scholarship. Most, I might say, almost 99%, they're on free tuition. They don't pay school fees, they get the scholarship, they don't pay school fees for their postgraduate studies. So that is from DUT, unlike other universities in South Africa. So you see now, this is one part of funding. So aside that, if you qualify for the university internal funding, you will get it. I'm speaking from the perspective of the Durban University of Technology. So aside that, so most times, I must also tell you that I know most of our members, Nigerian Student Association, most of our members are also beneficiaries of this internal funding, which has been increased from the previous amount. So it becomes a very win-win situation, because at the end of the day, they notice that this academia or this student is very productive, less funding. So they are funding you at the end of the day, the product or whatever you are producing, journal papers or whatever, they will recover the funds there, because they know that this we can invest in this student because of the potential we've seen based on your academic record. So basically, it's very, very much accessible. However, in most universities, it's getting very tight. Yeah, but Deborah University of Technology is still flexible, but in most universities, because we interact, we know what's going on, it's getting very tight and very difficult for them to access. So, but overall, I think it's satisfactory for now. Thank you.
This is very informative, and I'm very sure it's going to help a lot of people out there that want to study, but they are thinking about, okay, funds, they don't have money to sponsor themselves and things like that. Okay, we'll be going on a commercial break and we'll be right back. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Let's sell on your behalf. If your item sells on our web shop, you pay a 10% commission plus the transaction fees, and you get the rest. Register now at www.shop.clevenard.com. Start uploading your product and services. We can really sell it on your behalf so you can carry on working on the things important to you. Are you looking to sell any type of product or service and you want to avoid the hassle involved? Selling can be an arduous and time-consuming process. At Clevenard Super Shop, we will be happy to take over the workload of promoting or selling your products or services. All you need to do is to register at www.shop.clevenard.com, enter your shop or vendor information, and then start uploading your product and services. We will do the selling. Now, be ready to get more sales and awareness. Start making more money from your business with Clevenard Super Shop by partnering with us today.
Welcome back to Clevenard TV in Diaspora. I still remain your host, Scott Moyosore. If you're watching, please don't forget to sign up at www.clevenard.com for more live interviews, online radios, blogs, and so on. You can as well market your business on our website. Welcome back to the show, Mr. Smart. I would like to ask, you are the president of NANSA DUT. So how did you find yourself in such position? Because if you haven't showed good leadership examples or you don't influence others, I'm very sure you might have not gotten there. So what really inspired the position?
Thank you. Yeah, that's a very interesting one too. I think I will classify or rather define myself as a born leader. I wish in most of the positions I've found myself and most portfolios I've handled. Right from my days in undergraduate graduate student. I think I was a student union, then back in those days. I was a part of the student union and a very, not say stubborn, but a very active one, student union government. We started it. I'm part of the founders. So we looked at it, we noticed that we had a lot of Nigerian students. So I was discussing with Somi, I can remember, she was part of the founder in the. Don't we have an umbrella that will galvanize like inclusive kind of group where every member of every Nigerian would join and kind of benefit and get more information about the academic world, and then about every trending news that they need during their stay in South Africa. So from there, we formed the group, then we started. So along the line, we needed a leader. So based on, not because we have found that, but I think they see that it has been what has been done so far. So they found it worthy that I continue in that position of the president. So that's why I found myself, that's how I found myself here, although I've not really regretted it, because we have challenges, which maybe we may come to. We have challenges, and we've been able to overcome most of those challenges using one or two procedures. So it's really a nice position and very challenging, very demanding. But however, I must say categorically clear that we've assisted a lot of students coming into South Africa and choosing DUT as their place of study. We've assisted them both welfare kind and also vital information. So yeah, I think that's how I found myself in that position. And I've really done well to the best of my knowledge. You know, opinions are subjective. If I say it's objective, it becomes another thing. So let me put it as a subjective opinion because another person might see it as a different thing. Like this, my friend used to say, Protagoras. He said, two people might look at the same thing and see totally different. But that does not mean that any of them they are wrong. But it means that views and perspective differ according to individual. Thank you.
Yeah. Can you please tell me about the challenges you face? Because you stated it earlier that there are challenges as well.
Yeah, thank you. A lot, a lot. I will just break it down into three. The first challenge we experience is epileptic drive in student participation in the association. You know this drive that because I'm not being paid for something or what am I gonna gain from there? Let me just go about with my academic work. But one thing we try to do is to advise that even though you're doing your postgraduate, even though you're doing your undergraduate studies, networking, networking is very key. Knowing the people in your circle is very key. So we decide to make it a campaign to pull to include most Nigerian students. We realize that most are not even part of it. So we go on a campaign trying to hunt members, like we are trying to drag Nigerians to come for meeting. Yeah, so that's what we did. To belong to the group from there, we disseminate information. So we try to make it a kind of um, to advertise our relevance. Because part of our relevance, which is part also a challenge, is that we help students in getting their passport processed on time. So if they are going to the embassy, there's a letter we need to sign up that this is a student and it's needed urgently. You sign out from the office of the president, take it to the embassy. So there's somebody in charge of the students in the embassy, the consulate. So now they take it there. From there, they will be assisted effectively. So this is a part of the thing we try to tell them the benefit of being a member. Because if you're not a member, nobody's going to assist. So they start seeing it and they start, it became a kind of a place, a home for them. So this is the way we try to assist students. Also, we have issues of passport delay. Yeah, these were another issue. Passport delay. I'm not sure if you're coming to that one, but yeah, it's another challenge. But yeah, it's a very big challenge. But we step in. We also using the national body as our backbone, because from there we have a national body, the NASA National. So we write through the president have to write to embassy. So there's a letter that goes from there if the delay is too much. So with student governance need to intervene. So it will be effectively processed and they'll get their letter. Yeah. So also we have of the student finding themselves in a very serious problems where we intervene diplomatically, try to advise and try to help them. But like last month or last 2 months, if a member of the UT, his passport came back, his visa came back, he was denied visa while he has every document. These are the part of the challenges we see. So he came to us and he complained because he submitted every document. They were perfect. So he complained, so we have to advise on the way forward. But now he has resubmitted and he has gotten he appealed. So we advised on appeal, we took him through a lawyer, get the whole thing done, and yeah, he has gotten the visa recently. That was last 2 weeks. Yeah. I think, yeah, that's where we are. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. That's really impressive about helping students, especially the passport issue you mentioned, because everyone has been complaining about it. It's taking a year, 6 months, 8 months before they get their passport renewed. So I would like to ask you, Mr. Smart, have you heard about the Dudula crisis happening in South Africa? I know you must have heard about it. So being the president, how have you been able to deal with it? Like, okay, xenophobic attacks, Dudula crisis, why foreigners?
Yeah, very, very, very a tough question there. The foreigners thing, I have to digress a bit. There's a concept of learning. There's a concept. A concept of learning, relearning, and unlearning. So this concept encapsulates things we need in life and things we need to know, things we need to know in depth form, and things we don't need to know, even though we've done them. We need to unlearn. One of the things we need to unlearn is that as an African, one of the things we need to unlearn is that Mungo Park discovered River Niger. Part of the things we need to unlearn that Mungo Park discovered River Niger. And also, David Livingstone discovered River Zambezi, the border between Zambia and Zimbabwe. We need to unlearn them. So they are telling me that our forefathers has been in Nigeria or wherever they are. They travel from wherever they are coming from, and then they settle. Part of the thing we need to also unlearn is that an African traveling from his own African country to another African country is a foreigner. We need to unlearn that. We need to unlearn that. Because I think that becomes it becomes a way of segregation, and it starts inculcating in us and some people that this one is from different, but we are not from different places. We are from one mother Africa. We are Africans. So you start segregation and division set. And when they're certain, you see some bad eggs start to plant something that, hey, this is not our blood, this is not from, no, it shouldn't. Let me come into that movement. I'm not sure because I'm still looking at those movements. I've listened to a leader, one of the press conference kind of. Yeah, I listened to the leader. I see the anger, but I'm not sure nobody provoked them. But yeah, I see the way they talk like a very serious movement. Trying to say foreigners must leave that. I think it doesn't really make sense because we are one. And it's high time we start learning that. We should preach unity and preach love and preach oneness. United States of Africa is not United. It's United States of Africa today because of the unity. Because we've not been able to have one unified currency and free trade in Africa is because of division. It's because of political biasness and every kind of things, because of selfishness. So it's not really good. So what we do when it comes to xenophobic attack, we belong to a lot of groups. Thanks for the fourth industrial revolution, where we can disseminate information across the world. So we belong to a lot of groups. So once we get any information, we spread. So and we advise members once nothing is a rumor. Even rumors we take it seriously. That's what we preach. We take it has been investigated, it's not happening. So we advise them, limit your going out, don't go to where it's concentrated, So don't use public transport, use an Uber, which we can easily track the movement. So always limit your movement, stay indoors most of the time for your own safety. Yeah, so that's what we usually preach because we know that most time the attack, like they said in one of the documentaries I was listening to, I think it was one of the leaders in South Africa, he was saying, was blaming it on maybe some people are politically motivated or what. But yeah, it's still yet to be proven though. Yeah, so that's how we deal with it. We're always conscious. We take note of occurrences on the spark when it comes up. We advise members to limit their movement and be safe. Yeah, we communicate. I think communication has been the key. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Smart. You were able to do your master's and currently you're studying your PhD, if I'm right. What advice can you give to parents or guardians that want to send their children to South Africa to study? Because most parents are actually scared, like, okay, xenophobic attacks, Dudula crisis, language barriers, and things like that. So what advice can you give to them?
Yeah, I think from my own point of view, South Africa is a nice place. They're very peaceful, loving people, and very accommodating. I must tell you that. But we've really related and really coming dealt with most of them, and really been a state we've lived in a like it's in a I've actually stayed in an apartment, not really in a room, but in an apartment with most of them, and I must tell you they are very accommodating, and there is no reason for me to say that to say otherwise, irrespective of the attack and the xenophobic issues, which has truncated the base. But irrespective of that, it's a very peaceful place. So one thing parents should consider before sending their kids the university, choice of university. If it's an undergraduate, it's choice of university. But let me talk from the perspective of the postgraduate, because I know we have more of the postgraduate. So if it's a postgraduate, whether you're coming out as an individual or as the parents are sending you, they must consider the choice of university. They consider the supervisor. Now you consider your title, the project you should be working on. And also, yeah, these are the two basic things. However, you can also apply for those funding. Why I say the choice of university is because in some universities you need to pay school fees. And the school fees are in tens of thousands. So if you don't have that fund, you can look at DUT or University of KwaZulu-Natal. So why I say that is that in postgraduate day, you stand a very big chance of getting a scholarship, that's school fees waiver. If you are coming in as an international student, you stand a very big chance of getting a scholarship based on school fees, a school fees waiver. That's number one. Secondly, they have their internal bursary from DUT. They have their internal bursary. So if you have the aggregate from 60% and above, which is, I know most Nigerians coming here, they have that. So that's what I've seen. So you have stand a better chance also of getting internal funding. With that, you're good. Internal funding covers your accommodation, a very reasonable student accommodation, covers your accommodation and feed. Then what else are you struggling with? Nothing. Then also the supervisor must be considered. Must know the supervisor you're working with. Make contact. People working with you, that supervisor. How is the supervisor? Know your supervisor before you come in. It's very important because we've seen issues of people coming in and noticing that my supervisor don't read my work. And if your supervisor don't read your work, it becomes a problem. It affects your graduation and your academic performance. So it's not very good to have a supervisor that is not research oriented. So that's what I would advise. We must consider this factor if we want to study effectively in our choice of university. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Smart. This interview was really interesting and informative. I really appreciate it. Thank you, viewers. We've come to an end of today's show. If you're only joining us now, don't forget to sign up at www.cleveland.com for more live interviews, online radio, blogs, podcasts, and we can also assist to market your business at the website. Bye.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.